Hello YouTube, my name is Sarah if you didn't know, and today's situation is going to be back to school tips. This is my first year in 18 years that I'm not going back to school. This spring, April 2020, I graduated from university, so I've been through all levels of schooling that you can, from kindergarten, grade school, middle school, high school, and university. So over my time in school, I think I've developed a couple tips and tricks of stuff that I wish I knew and stuff that I wish I followed, and if and when I ever go back to school, these things will be staple for me. I will not stray from them because it has taken me 18 years to learn them, so I better implement them next time. So if I can help anyone with these tips, I will feel that much better because I wasn't helping myself with these tips. How annoying is that? Let's get into it and I'll share these tips. These tips are mainly aimed at people who are in high school and university. By the time that you're in high school or university, you are really making a lot of your choices and you're in a lot more control of what happens in your life and in your schooling. That's why it's aimed a little bit higher, but feel free to implement these even if you're a little bit younger than high school. So tip number one is that if you live in a cold place, you need to invest in a good winter jacket, hat, gloves, scarf, boots, whatever it may be. Because if you're taking transit or even walking from your car to class, class to class, and it's cold, for me personally, that was a huge deterrent. If I was uncomfortable, I immediately just wanted to go home. I was like, this is a long walk, I'm gonna be freezing cold, this day sucks. So just prepare yourself for the weather and the environment that you're going to be in so that you're not tempted to go home or tempted to skip class or anything of that nature. This one is really talked about a lot, but I don't think a lot of people listen to it. But the second tip is to utilize your profs and TAs and any other class resources you have. You have to realize that these people are being paid to help you. Even if you think, oh, my TA isn't even smart, it doesn't matter because they have the answers to your labs or tutorials or tests or anything of that nature. They know exactly what you need to say to get a good mark. And same with your prof, obviously. So even if you don't like your prof or TA, you need to be talking to them, you need to be going to office hours, you need to be emailing them. If you're confused, you don't understand something, you got a mark you don't agree with, you can always talk to these people. Even if you don't like them, you don't like their teaching style, so what? Suck it up and go to them and say, I'm confused, I need help. As well as if you plan on going to another program or grad school, doing research, anything of that nature, you are going to need references or people to speak to your academic achievements. And if a prof doesn't know you, they won't always write a reference letter for you because they can't. So you need to be making these relationships as fast and keeping them for as long as you can in the event that you may need the support of this person to go to grad school, to start a business, to get loans, or anything of that nature. These people can actually help you by having a good relationship with you. So my third piece of advice is to be blunt and honest in group work. If you're like me, group work was something that I took really seriously because it's everyone's grade, and if one person isn't working their hardest and pulling their weight, I'm going to be affected. So for me, when I had group work, I made sure at the very start to lay out my expectations, even if you come off as annoying. Make sure that you're explaining to your group, this is my expectation, we should have timelines of stuff done, we need to all agree to what we're going to be doing and by when, we all need to agree on a grade that we're striving for, and we all need to be honest about what we're not good at. So you need to actually be honest about what you need help with. Because if you think that you're the best at everything in your group, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. You just are wrong. That's the honest truth. Assess yourself and be honest with yourself. Allow your group to know what you need help with and ask what they need help with because you're in the group together, shocker. And if you notice that someone isn't going to be pulling their weight and is just not trying, talk to the prof right off the bat and ask that person to leave the group. Because if that person's going to drag your grade down, they don't need to be there. But don't wait till the last minute to tell your prof this is happening because they're not going to care. If this is like a 3-week long project and you know day 2 this person's not going to help, speak to the prof immediately to know what can be done. Do not wait till the last minute. The fourth piece of advice is to study all the time. But it means study even if you don't have a test coming up, a quiz coming up, a final coming up. You should be studying the work that you're learning as you go through the course. Every week, I would say, you should sit down, you should summarize what you learned, you should summarize the textbooks or other readings, look through the PowerPoint, and just refresh your memory every single week. Even if you have nothing immediately coming up, that is a way better way to learn than cramming everything at once. And I personally think that you're going to retain that information beyond the class. Tests are going to be so much simpler because the stuff that you don't know, you're already going to be asking profs questions about, not learning you don't know something a day before the test and trying to be like, oh my goodness, how do I learn this? Talk to my prof at office hours. The profs and teachers that I had were extremely non-receptive to last-minute requests. They're like, don't email me the night before the test, I'm not going to help you. But if 3 weeks prior you had an issue with something and you just got the help then, you wouldn't need the help the night before the test. So the fifth piece of advice is to go to networking events. Even if it's not for your faculty, even if no friends are going with you, even if you're nervous, just go sit in the back of a room and listen to speakers, listen to other students, listen to experiences, because you may learn that you're actually really passionate about something else. And you may make that connection immediately where somebody can help you get a job, an internship, a volunteer position, or be a reference to you, or be a mentor to you. There are so many networking events at universities, not as much high school, but I still think high school offers similar things. But specifically for university, so many faculties will have just events that you can go to. Most of the time they're free, but sometimes they're like $5, $10, $20, nothing crazy, where you're gonna hear experiences and people talk about their jobs, their schooling, the path that they took in life. You're gonna hear about people who are doing similar things to you and why it worked or why it didn't work. You're gonna hear new things that you didn't know existed. It's just the best way to get your face and your name out there. Number 6 is to not be afraid to change the major that you're in, add a minor, or even take a break from school. This is a really difficult one because I think a lot of people enter university and think, well, this is what I'm stuck in. And I kind of felt that way as well. And I felt like I was absolutely trapped in what I had applied for. But the thing is, you actually can transfer through degrees pretty easily, especially if you're staying at the same school, but you can even change schools if you don't like the school that you're at. If you are pretty passionate about what you're doing, you can add a minor to your degree or even a dual degree to get even more education or build on your skills. I personally added a minor to my degree in the second last year of my schooling, and I'm so happy I did that. I also think what's important is to remember that you can stop going to university at any time, and make sure that you do know how long your credits last for, but at the university I went to, they last for 10 years. So if you feel like you're not getting what you need, you're not able to focus, you're spending too much money, and you need to take a break from university, don't feel bad, because this isn't a race, it's not a competition, and I still have this problem about thinking this way, but your schooling is your journey, and you're the only one who's gonna have to deal with it at the end. So if it's not serving you in the moment, either change what you're doing or stop going till you can figure out what is going to be serving you, and don't feel bad about it. My 7th piece of advice, which is tying into the 6th one, is that failing a test or even failing a class is not the end of the world. These things will happen to everybody, and if you fail a test, you need to figure out why you failed the test, ask for help, and do better next time. If you fail a class, it's still not the end of the world. You can redo that class, or you can do that much better in every other class to bring up your GPA. Even in high school, well, not as much high school because you do actually have to pass these classes, so if you fail the class, that is a little bit of a bigger deal. But high school, it's so hard to fail a class. Make sure that you're talking to your teacher and showing up. That's basically the bare minimum for high school, and you should pass these classes. But in university, if you fail a class, sometimes you can't get into the next class if it's a prerequisite, but you can redo it. It's going to cost you money, but now you've learned, you know the material, and you can redo it better and just be more present, study more, ask for more help, and you'll figure it out. But at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. You're not going to not get your degree. You're not going to not get a job because you failed one test or failed one class. So my 8th piece of advice ties into the last two is you need to show up for class. Hate to be blunt with you, but you need to show up. I had a big problem with skipping class in my first years of university. Even sometimes in high school I would skip class. But like I said, when you're in lower than university, you have less autonomy and your parents and your teachers are helping you. But don't skip class. I promise you, whatever your friends are doing is more likely to get you in trouble than just showing up, getting good grades, and having fun after the fact. I'm a big social life person. I love being social. I would wish on everybody that they had a friend group and people that they can see and have fun with. But I also think sometimes those people don't have your best interest and they're not going to be there for you forever. So your fun, fleeting memory of skipping a bunch of classes and going to the mall or drinking in the parking lot, that's all you're going to have when these people aren't supporting you anymore. And on top of having just memories and no friendships, you've also done poorly in school. So my 9th piece of advice is to take time for yourself. As much as I'm a social person, you also need to take care of yourself and be alone sometimes. And just schedule in, hopefully, once a week where you're not going to be studying. You can just watch Netflix, watch a movie, go on your phone as much as you want, and just be alone. Take care of your mental health, whether that be seeing therapy, working out, making a nice meal for yourself. Always think in the back of your head how you can keep yourself motivated. How you can keep yourself motivated, healthy, and the happiest you can be. University specifically is very difficult, and it's a huge change from high school. So if you're not taking care of yourself and assessing when you're not feeling your best, it's going to get worse. It's going to get so much worse, and it's going to affect multiple areas of your life. So don't let university drag you down. Make sure that you're paying attention to your body's cues and figuring out when you need to take a break, and don't be afraid to take a break. And my last piece of advice is pack a lunch. Stop buying 3 meals a day because you're lazy and you don't want to pack lunch. Pack a lunch. It's so simple. I struggled with this for years, and I still kind of struggle with this. I'm getting a lot better, like with work and my last year of university, but just pack a lunch. It's going to save you so much money and so much time, and it's so simple. So please, please, just do it. Okay guys, those are my top 10 back to school tips. Let me know down below if you agree with these, if you have any tips that you live by that have helped you survive schooling. And let me know if you want me to make any more tips or go into depth on any of my other university or schooling experiences that may help you. I'm more than happy to have lots of back to school discussions and help people as much as I can. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and you'll check out a couple of my others. Comment, like, subscribe down below. You can follow me on Instagram at SarahsSituation, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.